Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Boland. Thank you all for joining me. Well, unfortunately, I have to bring this news to you because I believe this supports my argument. And what is this news? Well, unfortunately, we had another church shooting, I think in Birmingham, Alabama. A man went in, lone person went in to a church and opened fire. I believe he killed 2 people. I believe he's in custody right now. So look, I'm going to read this article. It's very short. I'm going to read this article and then I'm going to give you my commentary. But this supports my argument. This supports my argument about this whole idea of banning guns or restricting guns is ludicrous. It's not going to stop these. It's not going to stop. It's only getting worse and worse and worse. But let's go on. Let's read this. So the article says, two people were killed Thursday night after a suspect opened fire during a potluck dinner at the St. Stephen's Episcopal Church near Birmingham, Alabama. So it's near Birmingham, Alabama now. The Associated Press reports that 2 people were killed as a result of the shooting. At least 1 other person was injured. A tragedy. It's a tragedy. But there's answers to this. The New York Times notes a suspect was taken into custody, but his identity was not released. His identity was not released. I wonder why. I wonder why. I'm just speculating. I'm not getting into, I don't know, but his identity wasn't released. I wonder, I'm just going to throw this out here. If he was white, I'm pretty sure they would release his identity. But that's just my opinion. You know, I'm going to go on. Vestavia Hills Police Department's Captain Shane War indicated the gunman opened fire during, quote, a boomer's potluck dinner. And they have pictures here of people embracing. War said, quote, a lone suspect entered a small church meeting and began shooting. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey responded to the news of the incident saying, quote, this should never happen in a church, in a store, in the city, or anywhere. You're absolutely right about that. That's the end of that article right there. But as you can see, another horrible tragedy involving a shooting. And I predicted this to a coworker and one of my Christian sisters that this type of activity is going to increase over the summer. You're going to see more mass shootings. There's something spiritual going on. There's something psychological going on. And there's something evil going on, I believe. And I believe this based on all of my reading down through the years. I believe that a lot of what I've been reading is coming to pass right before my eyes. But I'm not going to get into that. What I want to get into is the fact that this supports my argument, as I said in the introduction to this video, the foolishness of either banning guns or restricting guns. One article I was reading talked about, I think in Washington, where they talked about July 1st, they're going to ban high-capacity magazines that have over 10 rounds. You know, if the progressive Democrats can't forcefully take your guns from you, they're going to diminish the impact one way or the other. I don't believe at once this is about protecting the citizens. I believe they're using this as a pretense to take away your guns or discourage you from buying guns. We have another church shooting here. I thank God that my church is not one of these churches, and no offense to churches that going through this. And my prayer, first of all, let me say my prayers to those who have lost family members in that church. My prayers are extended to each and every one of them. I pray that God give them the grace to deal with this. But I thank God that in my church, we believe in being armed. We believe in being armed. We believe in being armed legally, but we believe in being armed. So no one's going to try to come in our church. If you do, that's going to be your end. Okay. And I'm not going to hesitate, okay, to do what I have by law and by right to do. And when I do it, I'm going to get up and praise the Lord and preach the word and love Jesus and love my brothers and sisters. But I don't love anyone enough to let you come in the church sanctuary shooting up people because you satanic and demonic and you under mind control or you under mental illness or whatever. I'm not finna let you do that. The devil is a lie. The same thing with any other situation. These progressive Democrats do not care for you. They don't care. And let me go back on that other article that I read about the idea of banning high capacity magazines in Washington by July 1st, I believe. Well, there's been, because of this, people are flooding these gun shops and buying high capacity magazines. Gee, I wonder why. And let me throw something else out there. I'm pretty sure that the people that's buying these high capacity magazines in these gun stores and so forth are not criminals. I'm going to make the assumption that they're law-abiding citizens, that they're not criminals, and they're probably not insane. Because how can you determine if someone is insane or not? You can put them through a psychological test, but that doesn't determine anything, because a person can go insane later on in life. Here's the deal. Banning guns and diminishing high-capacity magazines and all of this, and restricting guns and all this other nonsense is not the answer. If anything, you ought to bring God back into schools. You ought to bring God back into government. That's not going to hurt anybody. Think about it. If a person is an atheist and you say, oh, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in it. Okay, you're an atheist. I respect everyone's choice. But what would it hurt to bring prayer back into schools? What would it hurt to bring God back into government? What would it hurt? What is going to make you depressed because they're praying? You don't believe in God. So what does it matter to you? You understand what I'm saying? What does it matter to a person who's an atheist if they bring prayer back into schools? You don't have to pray. Nobody's going to force you to pray. They didn't. I don't believe they did then. And if they did, leave it in the comment box below. But you forcing us. I mean, these teachers are trying to force transgenderism and critical race theory on the children, which is way more damaging than supposedly in the past forcing these kids to pray. Oh my God, you hurt me psychologically. You're forcing me to pray. Oh my God, I'm going to commit suicide. I'm going to slit my wrist. I'm going to slit my throat. Man, come on. It would do no harm to bring prayer back in, but I know they're not going to do that. So we suffer the consequences because people don't want to do right. We're going to keep getting this kind of stuff until we either bring back what I just said, prayer in the schools, in my opinion, and in the government, which I know they're not going to do, or we get rid of this whole idea of banning guns and restricting guns and all this other nonsense. We get rid of that idea and we put politicians in positions of authority locally, local, state, and federal, that believe in creating laws and ordinances that will restrain bad behavior. Not suppress us, not oppress us, but restrain bad behavior. That's what the law is supposed to be for. The law is supposed to be for people who do bad things, not penalizing people that do good things. These progressive Democrats celebrate criminals. They elevate criminals and punish law-abiding people. How do you figure that? What sense does that make? We're penalized for doing the right thing, and when we do the wrong thing, we're giving a slap on the wrist and giving a pat on the back. It's coming out time to them. You see how messed up this country is? And a lot of it stems from the people in leadership positions. Get rid of these crazy progressive leaders and put people in office that ought to be in that office. Local, state, and federal. Let's make a change 2022, man. We got to do what we got to do. Got to get them out of there. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about this church shooting here? Another church shooting, unfortunately, has occurred in our country. Unfortunately, there may be more. But it is time for citizens to look at the reality. Getting rid of guns and restricting them is not the answer. It is not the answer. In my opinion, that's not the answer. It's just not the answer. It's not going to help. It's only making things worse. And let me summarize this video on this. As unfortunate as that situation was in that church in Alabama, I believe things would have been made better if someone in that church had a gun. If someone had legally had a gun and was able to fend off this person, 2 people wouldn't be dead. This situation happened before some years ago when Obama was in office. And I think I shared that in a previous video. Guy comes in, starts shooting up people. But someone was, and I forget what state, I forget what city, But it was during Obama's second term, I believe. Guy comes in, starts shooting people in the church. But guess what? He got took out by someone in the church that was legally armed. And when they interviewed the man, he said, I took out the threat. I neutralized the threat, I believe he said. I neutralized the threat. Now, had there not been anybody in there with a gun to neutralize the threat, how many more innocent lives would have been lost? Who knows? Just saying. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button. Share this video and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again on another Black Conservative with Ryan Boland.